on the hard on the. Oh, there she is. Okay. All right. So you all walk to see Evie there, and this time she's by herself. Her the counter. She says, "I can get that cleaned up for you, free of charge, of course, if you'd like."
Yes. Pull out the Bandit for Dummies.
Well, one, you're looking at one. She said, "This is a really nice piece," and she's saying, like, the teeth are coming out, and so, you know, it looks like it could be kind of a sinister version of a bear, but it is a bear, and he kind of and he says, "My mother gave it to me."
Oh, was that so hard? Was that so hard to say?
And he says,
seriously.
And he says, "Yes." And he doesn't seem to want to talk anymore. It was.
Hey, just boxes aside from the stone. Figures being the surprising find there. Nope, just all your pelts and that kind of thing, and a ton of rotting food.
And she shakes her head. She says, "Yeah, that's too bad. The grocers lost their shipments. There's nothing to do about that, though, I suppose." And then she says, and she throws in. So she basically throws in enough to give 100 total. And she hands you the pelt. And she says, "Some of this is because of the cost of the pelts that you have given me back." And she gives you the coin purse with 100 gold.
Yep, I hand 20 gold out to everybody.
And
nice.
She says, "Oh, and of course," and she says, "Of course, you know, we can get this deer. What would you like done with it?"
If you could saw off its horns and its pelt and stuff like that. Actually, you can.
It's hard for us to get fine game like this, you know, with the danger that's rising. And she reaches out to shake her hand, and she says, "So I just want you all to know that you have really helped me, and anytime that you need anything, or if you need some help, or if you need a job, if you decide to stop adventuring one day," but I think before you guys had already said no. So speak up if you've changed your mind.
Well, maybe not all of them. It's like I say, pointing to the guy who is over my shoulder. It's like, this guy did illegally sell, you know, a bunch of stuff. But then I look at Irene. It's like, or not Irene, Leandra. It's like, all things considered, I think we should let her.
And Irene looks at you all and says, "Yeah."
No, they should all face justice.
It's like, oh, I have a perfect punishment for her. It's like, and it's like, I have an idea.
You are not the justice system. Allow.
I'm gonna carry you.
You know, not like a husband, but more of a familial way. So definitely more than her employee. And she says, "Look at this." And the guy who she had invited in, he kind of looks and he says, "Does that mean?" And she says, "Yes, ask you if you wouldn't mind."
Are you asking me this, or are you
and she
asking
says, "Both of you."
Phineas?
Did they tell you anything?
I was like, okay. And what would the question be?
And she kind of looks, her eyes take kind of a far off, like, very sad look. And she says, "Did you hear anything about my missing colleagues?"
What?
No. What missing colleagues?
And she says, the caravan that was carrying these statues, we went missing. We never found them.
With respect and dignity. Not consequence-free, but fairly.
She's not. I don't remember all that.
Okay.
Why?
Nothing.
And she kind of looks and thinks this line of question is very strange, and just like, okay.
Alright, then I'll just head back inside.
Okay, cool. So as you head back inside, the shopkeeper looks at you again, and she says, "Oh, so were they able to tell you anything? Do they know anything?"
Yeah, they didn't really like. They said they saw him sleep at night and they stole it while they were sleeping.
And she says, "And you
Yeah, why
believe
not?
that?"
They're like pretty incompetent. Like the only like way they could probably do that is by sneaking into the
I
night.
mean, they bought a bought a joke gift from a bookstore and thought it was an actual book on banditry. Like, these aren't the smartest of individuals we're dealing with here.
And she says, "Oh," and her face falls, and she says, "I see." And she says, "You're probably right. They might have disappeared in other means." Okay. And she says they're having a lot of dangerous things out there in the wilderness these days, and she looks like she's about to cry, but she kind of sniffs it back and rubs her eyes and says, "Thank you, young man, both of you, young men, and you too, young man." Looking at Cypress, and she kind of looks up. She's like 5'2", and she kind of looks up at the tall Goliath, and she's like, I mean, tall young man, but young man. No offense.
Yeah, Toren's not that young either.
And she says, "Well, you're all young to me." And she kind of laughs and says, and dwarves
It's
don't
like
show their age well.
I look at Phineas like, I'm 25. You
Yeah,
jackass.
you're ancient, dude. What are you talking about?
Who's Phineas, like 18 or something?
I just look like I want to throw Phineas out of the store, but I don't do anything.
And so she looks at you all and she says, "Okay, well, I suppose I could give you a reward." And she says, and she kind of counts the statues and says, and she says, "Why don't, how does 30 gold sound?"
What?
And she said, "Well, I do have to apologize. We are coming across some hard times. We lost a lot of money. These statues were all commissioned, and we actually had to pay the people who purchased them their money. The cost of the statues are out of our own pockets."
And I know who you got these from. You probably paid an arm and a leg for these.
And she said that we did, and so I'm sorry it can't be more, but
Yeah, so then you'll make your money back because these are very rare.
And she says they are, but that is if the people who bought from us want the statues back at this point. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of
Pretty
their
sure
trust.
a lot of people would want these.
Hey, Phineas, stop trying to.
I'm not trying to
gouge
gouge
the
him.
boy.
She's trying to gouge us.
She said they were made on commission, so that it doesn't really make sense that she wouldn't sell them to somebody else.
That's
It
like,
would
well,
be. These are, like Toren said, these are like top of the line.
says, yes, sir, they're all made on commission. People come to us and we're the middleman. And she said, but yes, we did have to pay. In fact, our business isn't doing too well. We did have to pay all of the people who purchased their money back, or their deposits back, and we weren't able to produce the product. We have a couple of lawsuits happening.
I think 50 gold would be more fair.
And she kind of looks at Phineas and she says, I'll tell you what. Go to roll persuasion. Okay. Her roll. Okay. She kind of does a long sigh and says, I'll tell you what. You did give us your items. Or you did get us our items back. We won't be able to sell all of them. In fact, probably not a lot of them. So why don't you come back in a few days and we can give you one of these that the owner doesn't want, since we can't sell it anyway.
I mean, yeah, that's probably better than what would have happened if we didn't give it these back. It's like, well, we'll do that, and don't worry, you won't have to pay us anything extra. I say this looking at Phineas.
Toren, are you an idiot? Is that your thing?
It's like, no, I'm not, but it's like, I'm not an idiot, but I'm also not morally bankrupt like you are.
Morally
yes,
bankrupt?
you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. And we're doing this. We're doing this in character, by the way. It's like you're a freaking murder hobo, is what you are.
Murder hobo? I haven't murdered anybody.
She kind of is. She's getting a little bit annoyed by this argument, and she's like, "Okay, so, come back in a few days. Thank you, and I'm sure we can give you something for your trouble." And she says, "In fact, I know we're currently being sued by one of the people who bought one of these statues, so I'm sure they probably don't want it at this point. That's probably the one we can give you, and it's a very nice piece." And she kind of looks, and she kind of gives you this look like, "Isn't that enough?" type.
It's like, yeah, that'll be fair. It's like, trust me, I know. It as much as I don't like the people you bought these from. Yeah, we can sell that for more than enough.
And she says, "Exactly. It may take a little bit of time to get the buyer, but once you do..."
No, I'm not really appreciating the sass.
And...
Okay. Hey, Cypress, can you finish this up? If me and Phineas stay here, we're going to end up fighting, and I don't want to do this. I drag Phineas out of the store.
Okay. And so she just kind of sighs, and is like, "Ugh." And she says, "Are they always like that?"
Yes.
And she looks and she says, "But young man, you do know that my offer of reward is quite generous."
Yeah, I'll take what you originally offered. If he asks about it, I'll tell him I dropped the other gold on the way out.
And she says, "So you'll take the 30 gold rather than the piece?"
Oh, the piece?
Yeah, she said that she said, so she had said that she was going to look into giving you all a piece that they weren't able to sell, that had been commissioned.
Oh, I mean,
if you come back in a couple days, yeah.
Oh yeah, I had. Then yeah, we'll take that if it's something you couldn't sell. I had left off at Phineas trying to drive her up from 30 gold.
Okay.
But no, the piece sounds good. Well, that's very generous of you.
Okay. Yeah, so she reminds you, just come back in a couple days, 2-3 days, and you will probably be able to she'll be able to tell you if which piece you can have. So she'll basically give you a piece. Okay, so I assume you're done.
Yeah.
There? Okay, cool. All right, so next, guardhouse probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
Right.
we still gonna take the prisoners with us?
Yeah, I think you're taking the prisoner to the guardhouse. That was
Oh.
the group consensus.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
When the
Yeah.
group comes together, I'll just let them know of the plan I want to pitch to the guardhouse.
Okay.
And hopefully the merchants, to have them, work off their debt, and maybe like have a deal to have like a minimum wage job for a couple months after their debt.
Oh, so you're gonna make
A
That
minimum
is
wage
slavery.
job.
It's like
they're forced to work?
Phineas, that would only be slavery if we sent them to debt or
No,
something.
that'd be slavery. Essentially.
Slavery or community service? Maybe community service is like the nice way of putting it.
Well, I mean, Phineas, it's
Okay.
better than getting put in a stockade
Yeah, that's
for
why,
God knows
that's
how
why,
long.
that's
and
why
then
I
sent to the
said let him
gallows.
go.
Let it
You guys
go.
options are like, we could make them slaves, or we could, just malnourish them
So I'm gonna-
forever, or
I'll look at the rest
we
of the
could,
group and
or
say,
we could like
shall we get
like,
moving?
send them to death. Like your
Hey,
options.
Phineas, do you happen to have a book in your inventory called The Anarchist Cookbook?
No.
Huh. That book would explain a lot of things if it was, though.
The Anarchist Cookbook? I don't cook. I do cook.
Rats.
I am pretty good at cooking.
Good at cooking rats, right?
Yeah, I cook. Yeah. I
Disease
learned how to
rats.
cook a rat.
Good at cooking
Make
disease
them taste at least like not diseased.
It's so sad. Okay, so we're definitely going. So let's go ahead to the guardhouse. So you guys walk in. Now you have been here before, like I said, because unfortunately, when you were arrested, this is the same place. And actually, you know what? I'm going to move us to the guardhouse. So let me fix that the way I want it to real quick. Give me 1 second. Maybe not. Okay. Yeah, we won't do that. Okay. All right. So as you walk in, you see there's it's part of the like a larger kind of compound. It's basically like a jail, but it's strangely connected to kind of other government offices. And as you walk in, there is a desk, and you see the desk, and there are some people sitting there, like kind of like a receptionist, or someone to that extent. And you kind of look at the person, and how are you bringing in the guards? Like, how are you bringing in the prisoners, bandits, I guess we can call them.
I think they're still untied, correct?
Yeah, I mean they're still tied up.
Well, I think it
they are
only
still
tied
tied.
the two guys. I think it only tied the two guys up.
Yeah, I don't think Leandra is tied.
What I had in my brain, envisioning was just like having their hands loosely bound, so not like BDSM levels, but like just like secure, like attached to
Definitely
something.
BDSM levels.
Well, I remember specifically hog tying the gambler.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember that. The gambler is hog-tied. The other two maybe that are loosely tied by their hands, but this group is not trying to get away. Like they're not fighting.
I
They
would have
clearly know they're
unhog-tied him at some point.
Okay. So he also just was okay, got it. Okay. All right. So you kind of usher them in. Then it sounds like. Okay. So go ahead and so you usher them in, and there's a guard at the desk. There are guards standing around, and they kind of look at you curiously, and the guard at the desk. Yes. No.
Good day.
This area is not open for the public.
We got
What do you mean?
hired to recover a stolen shipment, and these were the owners of that. They tried to jump us when we were looking for them.
And he says, hired, and he says, oh, and he pulls out like a book, and you hear him kind of like mumble something to the guy next to him, and then he opens the book and he like thumbs through it and he looks and he says, hired to look for a shipment. Yes. They hired you?
What's wrong with that?
And he says nothing. But why wouldn't they hire guards?
You guys aren't as good as us.
And he says, apparently not. He takes this very like in stride, and he laughs and looking at the people that you're holding, and he's like, huh. Apparently not.
And I pull out the book. It's like, yeah, these people were using this book as legitimate reference. It's like I'm going to continue to browbeat this into the fact that they used a children's storybook as a
completely like rubbing it in every step. So he takes the book and he starts laughing even harder than Evie, and he's like, I saw this book in a toy store, and he like gives it, and he says, can we keep this? And he says, I actually want to frame this in front of your
toy store. What? You saw a book in a toy store?
And he says, yes. Toy stores have children's books, haven't you?
I don't know. I've never been in a toy store.
It's like Phineas. Yes, they sell these as gag gifts.
It's a toy store, like toys.
Toys and gifts and all.
Yes. Isn't a toy.
And he kind of looks at Phineas and says,
He ate rats on the street. Don't judge him too much.
And he says, oh, sorry about that. Yeah, well, I hope things are going better. Anyway, yes, I saw this book in a toy store / joke shop / gift shop, I guess you could say, but mostly a toy store. And he gives the book back to you, and he says, okay. So these were the culprits, and then he looks through the little notebook he was looking at, and he says, yes, this was there was a owner of the furrier shop. She had asked for help and registered, but I guess she decided not to go through the government, so whatever. And he closes the book and says, so these are the ones you found.
Yeah, also a shipment of stone carvings from the Sisters of Stone up in I wrote this down, I can't remember the frickin' name.
So the Sisters of the Stone, for everyone, this wasn't everybody's background, are a guild of female, mostly dwarves, and but other females too. It's a progressive guild. They are master stoneworkers, also some brewers, some some like I can't remember what else I said, but so, brewers, master stone workers, stuff like that. These specific statues, Toren and Cypress would know, came from an artist of Sisters of the Stone, and also from the Bird Earth Dwarven clan, which is a clan, and I'm not going to say much more about them, but it's a known dwarven clan, a large dwarven clan that has a city outside of that has kind of their own city and culture. But the items from both of these groups would be highly sought after and expensive and world renowned. So the guard kind of looks and says, "Huh. Well, that's a big haul." And he kind of says, "You returned it, right?"
But yeah, we did.
And he says, "Okay." And he says, "I wish you would come here first, but that's all right." And
it's like also the caravan is missing now. We don't believe these three were responsible for it, but they might have been eaten by wolves.
And Leandra with that perks up and says, "No, missing caravan." She says, "I swear we don't know anything about that."
Again, like I said, we don't believe they killed anybody, but that caravan's missing now.
And he again like pulls out the book and reaches through and he says, "Yes, we've actually been looking for them for several weeks." And he says, "Yes," and he lists a few names, and then he says, "Female 34, male 32, and male 30." And he flips through and he says, "All human." And he closes the book and he said, "Yes, we're looking for them." And he looks at Leandra again. He says, "Are you sure you know nothing about this?" And she says, "No." And she says, "You heard them. We're incompetent." She makes the air quotes. And she says, "We haven't harmed a hair on anybody's head. We just wanted the stuff."
It's like again, you didn't know what you had and sold it for an astounding loss.
Can I incite her on
Yes.
her saying she didn't hurt anybody?
Okay, she will roll. Okay, so Cypress, you get the feeling, because you know people like this, like kind of with this kind of cocky type of attitude. And cocky meaning people who are very confident in their physical abilities or their intelligence, but just confident in general. Now, not that she specifically has, a lot of abilities, but she does come across as confident for some reason. And you have a feeling that if she would have done it, she would probably admit it, either by mistake or to brag about it. But the way that she is kind of groveling, which doesn't seem like a characteristic of someone who's like this, and trying to get you all to believe, even after Toren already said that there's no way that they did this, you have a feeling that she's probably telling the truth. And she seems, for the first time, very incensed and a little bit scared, because although people who, steal stuff don't get capital punishment, people who kidnap or kill might. And she does not want to be stuck with the charge like that. So, yeah, you have a feeling she's telling the truth, but she just kind of looks back with confidence at Toren and kind of is like, yeah, for the first time, she wants people to believe that she's kind of dumb, probably in her life. And she looks at Toren and she says, we didn't. I swear it. I swear it. We have no idea. We saw them and they were fine. We just took the stuff. We did not do anything to them.
It's like, yeah, stupid they may be, murderers, very doubtful.
You guys are talking way too much.
And she's like, exactly.
I mean, shut up. Like, what are you doing?
And she kind of looks at Phineas, and then it throws her off because she seems concerned and she stops talking. And the guard says, well, either way, we'll find this out through interrogation. And she says, all right, you three. And he calls a bunch of other guards. And he takes them and he they all surround them and they take them, kind of surround them. I said, take them back. And he looks at the three of you and he says, all right, we may have questions for you later, but for now, we will interrogate them and see what we can find. And if they had anything to do with this missing caravan, which they probably don't, but if they did, we will find out. And so they kind of take them back, and he looks and he says, very impressive, actually. You all would probably make good guards. We're recruiting. Haha, just kidding. And then he kind of waves it away, not seeming to realize that you guys were just arrested by his same group, like a little over a month ago, kind of forgetting about that. Is there anything else you would like to say to him, or anything else that you would like to do at the guardhouse?
Oh, well, quick question. When he says interrogate, do I get the sense that he means beat them up until they say something, or like actually interrogate them?
Go ahead and... Okay, I'll actually say you know this, because I feel as if Irene would have an idea of the justice system. So the justice system is actually pretty complex. We won't get into all that. Maybe something that you all find out at some point, but it is illegal to beat people up in interrogations, at least in the government. So yes, he's definitely talking about just interrogating them. Now there are societies that do that, but in the government of Alloria, it is illegal.
Okay.
So, okay. Anything else that you all wanted to do?
I'll just bring up my what I suggested about the community service, and like follow up internship, for lack of a better word.
Okay, so you're gonna tell that to the guard?
Yeah, just to like bring it up from now.
Okay. So you say to him, you kind of mentioned there possibly being like some type of like restitution, internship, apprenticeship, whatever. And he looks and he says, well, that's for the courts to decide. And he says there are times where they will do community service. They'll definitely have to, if they have any assets that we find, they will have to compensate the shopkeepers that they stole from. And if they don't have any assets, they might have to work for them as well. But that will definitely be considered. And he says, and he kind of goes over and whispers so only Irene could hear, and he says, just between you and me, they're lucky that you found them, because trust me, there were some bounty hunters out there that were also looking for them. They might not have gotten back here in such fine condition had one of those groups found them.
Yes. And I'm quite invested in keeping them in a fine condition and making them useful to the town. And I'll give him Dr. Simic's address, so and ask him to when the court details or anything else comes out to contact me.
So he'll take the information, and he'll be like, oh, Simic, yeah, good guy, and he'll put it kind of in his breast pocket. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm good on that front.
Would anybody else like to say anything or talk to anybody here?
Nah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep a hold of the lockbox and not do anything with that, because that would probably get seized.
All right, so you're keeping lockbox. Got it. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So where would you all like to go next? So we have, you can do whatever you want around town, or you can go, to the farm. You can go to Simic, and the only thing you can't do right now, I think I've repeated this several times, but it's easy to forget, is to pretty much leave the kind of immediate area. It won't be like this for long, but just at the moment because of the travel restrictions. But you can do anything around town.
I would like to post any of the some client letters that I have on the back, but that doesn't really need to be anything, just like note that I like.
I'm sorry, so again, you'd like to post what?
Some of the letters I have for my clients. So that doesn't have
Got
to
it.
like actually be played out, just to like note that I do.
Okay, so you want to take those? Okay, so yeah, you can definitely take those to the post office. The post office is a little bit slow, but it is running. The post is running, so you can go and do that. And I'll get back to you on responses or things that your clients will say. Anybody else have anything else they want to do? We can head to the farm, or to a tavern, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, wasn't there another job we could do?
Yeah, there's the farm. Mm-hmm. There's the farm.
Hey, would anybody be able to loan me 20 gold?
Why do you should have 20 gold.
I know, but I got my eyes on a chain shirt. And I don't have enough money for it.
Ramune looks over at Phineas. Is Phineas telling the truth?
Yeah.
Do I need to do an insight check?
I mean, yeah, probably. The chain shirts how much are the chain shirts?
50.
Yeah, that would be about how much you would have.
I'm thinking about selling. I have to sell my armor too.
All right. Ramune's gonna take the 20 gold he got, and he's gonna produce it through his arm. Yeah. Protect yourself, but please.
It kind of like squishes out.
Like you.
Please quench your thirst for violence.
What? What the fuck are you saying?
And then Ramune just drops the gold coins on the ground and walks away.
Oh, is it because I'm poor? I pick them up. Pick them all up.
Do I have enough for a heavy crossbow? I am 1 silver short from a heavy crossbow.
Sorry, I'm gonna go.
I guess you're out of luck, bud.
No. So Phineas gets a new
Okay,
chain
so you want to go to the
shirt.
armorer now? Okay. Oh, sorry. So there is actually not. I forgot this. There actually is not an armorer in this town. Yeah. I did say that the first session. There's not an armor in this town. It's just like a small, like seaside type of town. Now there is a shop where the closest that you have to an armor. There is a shop that has like very small supply, but mostly decorative. If you want to go ask them to see if they may get anything in, and that's both of you. Now they actually, there would be probably would be I'm thinking crossbows. There would be those for sale because those are for hunting. But in terms of like armor, there's not really an armor shop. But like I said, if you want to go check there, they might have something, or they might be able to get something in.
Cypress will.
I don't have enough money for ammunition, even if I could buy the crossbow.
Okay.
Cypress will hand Toren a gold piece to help him out.
Okay.
That'll buy that.
Yeah,
because you only needed 1 silver.
I have a short sword I can sell.
There
I
you
can
go.
sell that for ammo.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we're gonna go to the armor. Well, it's not really an armor, but the shop that has armor and like some like hunting weapons. It has all this stuff there. Okay. So who would like to go? Oh, anybody besides Phineas and Toren?
I'll tag along.
Yeah, Ramune will go along as he wants to make sure that Phineas purchases what he needs. As he's a little sus.
Okay.
What?
A little sus.
Oh, I love how no one trusts Phineas not to steal.
Well, it's
Oh,
no, it's
okay.
not that.
Phineas
It's
not
just
stolen anything at all.
Phineas's recent actions and attitude has been very chaotic, homicidal, and he's a little worried. And he just wants to make sure that Phineas, you know, he ends up being a good boy, you know?
Yeah. All the up and up, you know. As long as he's good, it's fine.
Not acts like a murder hobo.
Hey, I haven't killed anybody.
Exactly.
Except that one guy in the beginning. Like the first fight we did.
With like weird blue stuff coming out of your hands. Okay. So you all head to the armor shop. We will not take too long in here, but you go in and there is a shopkeeper. It is a woman, and you notice this place seems to have a lot of female business owners. That is not as common in other cities, and so you know whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but this town specifically has a lot of female business owners. So the shopkeeper is helping a couple of people, and you see the shopkeeper. She's kind of, you know, talking and fussing with them, and the people that she's talking to, a very, very burly dwarf, and he is really stocky, stands out in a crowd, has a big red beard, looks like this. Let me get him out. This is the guy. And has on full armor. Not the type of armor that you would buy at the store at all. It's high quality. I mean, even someone who doesn't know armor, we could tell looking at this. And then next to him is a human female who is very, very small, very short, very thin. Looks like maybe a early 20s, or maybe a teenager. And she looks like this. This is so hard for me to do. This is gonna be so much easier with boundary what I'm doing right now. She looks like this, and she actually kind of reminds you of someone who you may have met recently, but you're not quite sure. Meanwhile, the shopkeeper, who looks like... okay, can I do this? Like this. There we go. She seems to be helping the group and kind of glances at you and then glances away and continues helping them. And then she kind of walks up, and you can hear the two of the female human and the male dwarf like bickering, but you can't really tell what they're saying, but they're bickering. Like the tone is like one of bickering, kind of a little back and forth. And she kind of walks up to you all and she says, yes, may I help you? With a slight edge of annoyance on her voice.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you guys got a chain
crossbow.
And she's like, yeah. Yes, we have crossbows. And she goes to, she kind of reaches like underneath and she pulls out some boxes and she produces a crossbow. And she says, will this do? It's just a plain like wooden crossbow, nothing fancy, very, very average. And she said, and no, we don't have any chain shirts. We don't sell stuff like that.
Okay.
And she looks at Toren, Toren, and she says, "Now you're talking about a light crossbow, right?"
I was hoping for a heavy crossbow because that would have been better than a longbow I had.
So she looks at you and she says 50 gold.
Said I pull out 50 gold and it's like, hey, can I trade this sword for some bolts? And I pull out a short sword.
She looks at the sword and she kind of turns it over in her hand and she says, by the way, is anybody else in here?
Ramune would be.
Oh, Ramune's in there. That's right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Irene as well.
Okay. She turns it over and looks at both sides of it and she says, I suppose, how many
will that get?
Very short. And she goes, she does a little bit of a sigh and she says, and the wheels in her head are kind of turning.
Like,
and
I would like at least 10.
And she says, 30.
Oh, alright, that was more than I thought. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that'll be fine. It's like, I'll buy this crossbow, and I'll exchange that sword for the bolts.
And she goes to the back, and says, okay, hold on. And she takes the sword, she goes to the back. The couple who are continuing to bicker with each other, walk up to the counter, and you hear them arguing about, like, strangely enough, about the travel ban, or not the travel ban, but the travel restrictions, and kind of talking about, like, not being able to go anywhere, and the woman seems pretty annoyed. I would like, let's see, anybody who is proficient in perception to roll.
Alright.
Okay.
Just a sec. Processing. Okay.
Okay. So as soon as she gets close to you all, you all immediately realize that the girl, who is very young, reminds you a lot of Esta. In her dress and hairstyle, and the token has straight hair, but because it was what I found. But the girl is wearing the braided style that Esta was wearing. It's a similar braided style with two braids in the front. This is a very obvious style that wealthy youth do. And she has like some gold kind of like ties at the end of it. And she's like, and she's looking at the dwarf and she says, well, if you won't take me back, I'll walk by myself. I'll walk all the way back by myself. And she looks at him and she says, in fact, the next person I see, you. And she turns around and the first person she sees is Phineas.
What?
And she says, you. And
What about me?
You'll take me back to Harkenstow, won't you? And
is this Esta we're looking at?
this is not Esta. It's not Esta. She has, like I said, similar hairstyle, similar. She's rich, basically. Because you saw Esta so recently, she has on the same type of dress. She has on the same type of, she has the same hairstyle. So, and she just mentioned Harkenstow, which is where Esta said.
You said she's a human, right?
She is a human.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Esta was an elf.
Yeah, Esta's
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hard to remember. And she says, and now this is a very, okay, so react to this how you want to, Phineas. I'm not saying I have to react anyway, but this is a very pretty human. Rich, so you may hate her for that reason, but this is like a really pretty girl. And she just is being a little bit presumptuous and inappropriate and a little bit consent breaking by pointing at you with her finger. And she's like, you know, because she didn't ask if she could do that. And she like, yes, him. And she kind of looks and she says, you can't keep me trapped here forever. And Renly, the dwarf, he says, you know what? You're right. I quit. Like, wait, what? You can't quit? What? He can't quit. And he looks at you and says, he can't quit. You can't quit. And he's like, nope. I quit. And he puts his hands up. And she throws herself at his arm and like, no, you. And she pulls his arm and he like just kind of bats her off like a gnat. And like,
wait, where'd you get your armor?
And she says, ugh. She said, that was commissioned by my family, but you're not going to get that anymore if you quit. And he just ignores her and marches out. And she says, ugh, now what?
How much you commission him for?
And she looks at Phineas and she says, right before the dwarf leaves, he looks at her and he says, 100 years of service to this family, every day having to go out and fetch your dog and get your cat that ran into a tree and guard you at your cotillions. I can't take it anymore. Done.
So,
And
by chance, is
he
this
marked
the
that.
France? His family got you.
Oh, he's gone. He's so gone.
I was like, I say to the woman, said, so you had an experienced dwarf warrior with over 100 years of experience, and you decided to piss him off. Are you an idiot?
And she's like, no. And she says, he was just, I don't know. He just didn't let me go back to Harkenstow. He had this idea in his head that it was too dangerous for us to travel, blah, 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 blah. It's not that bad. I could probably go back
Lady,
myself.
you would be
but...
killed the moment you stepped outside of the city gates. It said you are the plumpest of plump targets.
And she's like, that's what he said. And then she kind of looks and says, but it's not true. And she pulls out like a little like a nail file type of dagger size. It's a dagger, but it's a little nail file. And she's like, look. And she kind of makes a stabbing motion with it. And she says, I'm tougher than I look. And then she puts it back in her bag and she says, so, I don't want to be here anymore. I came down here for the Festival of Limitless Waters. And I have not been able to... Just wait a second. And she says, chain shirt. You were looking for a chain shirt, mister, huh?
Yeah.
And she says, well, there's lots of chain shirts available in Harkenstow. Why don't you all escort me
Yeah, that's
back?
fine. We could do that.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I could pay for that. And she says, but not just yet, actually. In a couple of days. And I could probably even get you a chain shirt for free.
Yeah, that's cool.
And she's go ahead.
Hold on there, Missy. Who even are you?
And she's oh wait, you don't know who I am?
No. Why would I?
And she says, well, if you're not from Harkenstow, I suppose. My name is Selene, and I am from the esteemed Toren family. Phineas, roll. Let's see. Intelligence. Maybe intelligence. Yeah, you are not quite sure. Although you have you probably think that she's probably from like a well-known family in Harkenstow, but you're not quite sure who the family is. So she kind of looks at you expectantly, and she says, "The Solarian family of humans."
Yeah, we'll take you. It's fine.
And she's okay.
Oh,
So
what? Phineas, no. Why? You can't say that for all of us.
You should discuss
and she says, "Well,
this
she
with
agrees."
everyone.
And she points at Irene. And she says, "I can pay you."
It's like, oh god, she's even worse than that. Esta was.
This Esta. You know Esta?
Yeah, we ran into her after she was forced into doing peasant work. She actually was pretty good with it. She jumped a pig and actually
She's-
manhandled the thing into a cart. It was actually pretty impressive.
She's a good kid with a bright future ahead of her.
And she looks quite amused. She said, "Esta Francis handled a pig?" And she says, "Oh, I believe that when I see it. That must have been hilarious."
No, it was actually quite impressive. She was a lot stronger than she looks. It was quite a big pig.
And she kind of shakes her head, sounding a little bit impressed. And she says, "Yeah, I knew her parents made her get a job." And she says job as if it's a dirty word. And she says, "But hopefully she's managed to get through that."
You say a job as if it's poison.
And she's, no, I'm just saying that, she doesn't have a lot of experience working.
Do
That's
you?
all. No offense. And again, she lets it slip. It's like, God, no. No. I haven't gotten a job yet, but I'm going to be looking for one. I can tell you next summer. A lot of the jewelers are hiring in Harkenstow, and there's a few dress shops as well. Yes. So I'm ready to earn my way.
Do I believe her at all?
Probably not, but you can roll it. Inside.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that just for shits and giggles.
Okay. And go ahead. And what were you going to ask, Ramune?
You said you're handy with a knife and can protect yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah, of course.
Why not get a job now? Go work at the wharf, gutting fish.
And she says, "Cutting fish?" No, absolutely not. And then she looks at so Toren, you think that she actually let me have her roll. Is she telling the truth? Yeah, you think she's probably telling the truth. She mentioned kind of like some less strenuous type of stores, a dress shop, a jewel shop. So yeah, she's probably telling the truth about eventually getting a job. Now, in terms of getting a job like what Esta had, yeah, never. But probably, something that she might do, stand around in a shop and show people dresses. She might be okay with that.
So what you want to do is just do the easiest possible task that even a monkey could do, is what you're saying.
And she kind of looks at you and...
Well, talk about who's being rude now.
Well, no. Toren
I don't think monkeys
has had very bad experience with noble-esque people as well.
Toren, I don't think monkey is the right word. I think you mean gnomes. I think that is what they like to be called. Gnomes. Since they generally deal with jewelry.
That's really racist.
I was
what?
like,
Oh.
I was like, Ramune, that's insulting to gnomes. Gnomes at least.
That's like
work.
really racist, Ramune. I can't believe you even said that.
I was like, this lady is the embodiment of fed with a silver spoon in her mouth.
And she looks absolutely shocked that you said that. Now, meanwhile, the shopkeeper is just like really enjoying this. She's kind of like under her breath. She looked super annoyed earlier, but she's kind of sitting in the background like, this is hilarious. And she looks at you for a second and she looks angry, and then she starts laughing her ass off. And she's like, I like this guy. Nobody ever dares speak to me in that way. Never had that happen in my life. I like it. Honesty. And she gives him she gives Toren a thumbs up. And she says, do you realize that the number of people who just, well, until Renly, but the number of people who just tell me what I want to hear, I like you. She says, yeah, I definitely want you to take me back. Both of you. And you too. And what about you?
Yeah, we're fine doing
I
that.
was like, yeah, but trust me, lady, if you must take you back, you're going to have to listen to us because it is way worse out there than you think it is.
And she says, okay, fine. I believe you because you're honest. Okay.
You need to pull your weight.
Like, what does that mean?
It means you
It
want
means
to
when
live
it comes to
and
prepping dinner,
survive.
you're going to be helping me gut the chicken. You're going to be me gut the pheasant.
I cook.
Okay, you're gonna have to show me how to do that. My chef never showed me how to cook.
Chef.
Ramune looks a little puzzled.
She says, yeah, my chef.
It means she has someone cook for her.
Yes, I know what a chef is. Just surprise someone
Yes.
has an individual chef to themselves. Very well.
No, silly, he's my family chef. I would never have. We wouldn't have an individual chef. Are you? No, only kings and queens have that. And she's saying this as if it's like so much less, extravagant to have a family chef versus like a personal chef for every which is not, it's all way above what's realistic for 99% of people. And she's like, oh, okay, well, look, here's the thing. If you all will take me back and she kind of thinks and she says, you know what, when you're ready, within a week. And she takes a piece of paper and she scribbles down like some information and she hands it to Toren. And she gives Toren like a little wink, which probably makes you slightly uncomfortable. She might have a little bit of a crush. And then she says, she looks at Irene and she says, so you, they're pretty cool to hang out with, right?
I'm confident they can get you to Harkenstone.
And you too.
Sorry, what was the last thing you said?
She said, and you too.
Well, thank you. Yes, if we have a week to work with, it's very likely we'll be able to manage that and take care of what we need to beforehand.
And she says, yes, okay. And she says, all settled then. Meet me at that address in 5 days. How's that? 4, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever. Yeah, I'll be there. It's not like I can leave now. It's really hard to find good help these days, you know?
I mean, to be fair, you kind of drove him off. That's kind of on you, sister. That's kind of on you, man. Yes.
And he looks at you and she says, honesty. Okay, fine. Yeah. Maybe we can talk about how not to, have that problem. Actually, I've hired a few assistants and they keep having nervous breakdowns. Maybe you can help me on ways of how to prevent that from happening. Although he's been with me since I was born, I'm really sad to see him go. She's kind of going on this like boring like rant about assistants quitting and this and that. And she kind of like nonchalantly like is going on. And the shopkeeper looks at her and says, "All right, no loitering in the store. Is there anything else that
Can
you
I have my
need?"
crossbow and bolts, please?
And she says, "Oh, yeah." Yes.
DM.
And she hands it to you.
This individual, this noble woman, are her clothes of a noble nature, or how do they appear? Do they appear like well used and kind of tattered, kind of old, or do they appear kind of new and pristine?
No, they remind you of Esta. That's why I was having, that's why I had some people roll earlier. And that's how you recognize it. You guys were well enough to realize that she was dressed similarly to Esta. So.
Okay, so it doesn't look like she's on hard times or anything like that. Just like
No.
she's just out enjoying herself. Got it.
Not at all. No. In fact, I mean, her clothes are even like a little bit nicer than Esta. But the thing is that the style is similar. There's a specific style that these girls of this age wear. And the hairstyle, the clothing style, and all of that. Now, you wouldn't necessarily know that because I don't think you're into fashion, but you have noticed the pattern. And she is dressed with a similar pattern, yeah.
It's like family kilts in Scotland or lederhosens in Germany.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, the shopkeeper, like the whole time, is, again, her reactions are pretty amused. She is seeming to enjoy, see you guys kind of like dress this girl down. So she, probably is a little traumatized by dealing with Celine as well. Okay, so she gives you the paper, and like I was saying, the paper has an address on it of like a house, and she says, "I'm staying here. Now this is a house. This isn't a tavern. She's renting a house apparently, or maybe staying at a relative's house or something. But she's not staying at a tavern per se. She says, maybe I'll see you around town in the next few days." And she looks at Toren and says, "Especially you."
Visibly, Toren puts on a very forced smile.
And she says, "Okay." And she kind of like heads out, and you see she like walks away from the store. And you hear the shopkeeper say, "Wait." And she says, she didn't even take her purchase, and she kind of wraps it up and puts it underneath the like the
What'd
counter.
she even buy?
It's a so you look at you saw it before she wrapped it. It's like a jeweled dagger. That's like a decorative piece. It's not like it doesn't look like it would be functional because it's encrusted with like some type of jewel. And like I was saying earlier, this place mostly has decorative pieces. And so she just wraps it up and puts it underneath and says, "Oh, I'll have it delivered to her house tomorrow." And she kind of flops down on like in a chair. Is there anything else that you all would like to do at this shop?
I would like to cry on the inside.
I was like, I asked Lee, it's like, "Hey, do you have a bucket?"
She just kind of looks at you strangely and runs to the back and gives you a pot.
Toren just puts the pot in his head and lets out a huge scream for getting hit on by that noble woman.
Pray it wasn't a chamber pot.
Oh, looks like Toren's flustered.
She's like, "Okay," and she takes it back and puts
sorry, I just needed to do that.
Well, we should go.
And she says, "I kind of understand after dealing with that." Oh, go ahead.
We should go let Cypress know that Toren and his new girlfriend will accompany us on the way to Hawkinsville.
Yeah, and Toren just shudders when hears that. It's like, that woman is not someone I would touch with a 10-foot pole.
Dude, she's right there, man. Right there. The job's not even done yet. You get in there, you finish the job like a champ.
Oh no, she left. She left. Yeah, she's gone.
Oh.
Yeah, she
dude,
split
so
it
cool.
out. I said it real quick, but she kind of flitted her way out. Yeah, no, she's gone. She's hoping to see you guys maybe around, but you know, you probably have the feeling that this girl's not hanging out at Tavern, so that's probably unlikely that you'll see her again until it's time to go. Okay, anything else you want to do in this weapon shop?
I bought a heavy crossbow,
Heavy
right?
crossbow,
That's what I was hoping to buy.
Yep, heavy
yeah.
crossbow.
Do they sell boltstrings?
And
Okay, I
some
got
bolts.
30.
So the standard. Oh yeah, they would sell bowstrings.
How much
Hold on,
for a
let me-
bowstring? I would
Okay,
like
so
to-
heavy crossbow. Okay, bowstring would be.
Didn't we get some extra ones for Toren?
Yeah, but Ramune wants some.
Okay, just making sure. Oh, it's
Okay.
really okay, I missed that.
I actually don't have any string,
I think
actually.
it was the
So-
session you were
That
out.
was when Toren was. That's when Matt was gone.
Yeah.
But
I'll
we.
Yeah,
reply
I
to it
think
in the chat.
What?
I don't know how many, but we
I think you got him
grabbed
too.
some for you.
Yeah, you were given bowstrings because I think they were just appreciative for the help. They gave you bowstrings for free. I don't have a price for those, so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna count that. Honestly, I'm gonna count bowstrings since they're just as standard inventory. And so I was thinking of how we're gonna do this, and I'm going to say like every and I'll track this and I'll tell you guys when I'll track it myself, but every 5 days or so or after a long trip, you all buy the standard items. So rations,
Okay.
bowstrings, I'm gonna count as a standard item.
I
And
just
it'll cost 1 gold for all of it.
I just wanted to spare in case Phineas tries to
What?
clip my bowstring. As I see him as he
Yeah.
tried to do it with Toren. I don't want to be on Phineas's bad side, so Ramune's just preparing for the
Go ahead and-
worst.
Yeah, go ahead and let's just say that you were able to get a few, so I could say, let's say that you have 3 extras, and so every time after you do a long trip, we'll just subtract the gold from it, and long trip meaning I'm gonna count a long trip as 3 days, and you just replenish all your items. Okay, so I think anything else in this shop? I think that's probably it. Now we're headed towards the later afternoon, and so you guys can go and talk to the farm if you want. This is a farm. This is not a shop, so it's somebody's home as well. So you can go there, or you can do something else. So you can go to Simix. You can go back to Simix's house or whatever.
As we are going to be traveling, I wish to procure a tent. Would any of you mind if I just went to the store to see if they have a tent? Or down to the market?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's see. So a tent for the group. So we have a 2-person tent. Okay, so I just found. So if you wanted to get, it looks like 2-person tents. So you would need, if you want to get a tent for everyone, you would need 3. If you just wanted to get one for yourself, you would need 1. They cost 2 gold each.
Yeah, he was thinking about just getting one for himself. That way he can, when he takes off his robe and stuff, his appearance, he can actually conceal a little bit easier when sleeping, and then be able to put stuff on in privacy when needed.
Okay.
Not that it should
yeah,
matter
so we-
too much, but just in case.
I was like,
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, Toren doesn't need a tent. He likes to sleep.
Underneath the beautiful
Outside.
stars and
Okay, cool.
nature.
Underneath the stars. Does
Right.
anybody else want a tent?
In terms of encumbrance, we have the cart, right, for like these heavier things.
Yes.
Okay, then I'll grab one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody who's grabbing a tent, go ahead and just subtract 2 gold out of your inventory.
Toren wants to buy a big ol' bottle of rum and drink the whole thing.
Right now?
Yeah. Because
To recover from that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I won't charge. I mean, that's like, a few coppers, so you can go ahead and do that. Did you want to go to the tavern and do it, or did you just want to?
I'll go to a store and get it, and as soon as we stop for the night,
That brings
I'm
up
just
a
gonna down the
question.
whole thing.
Okay.
Are we doing drunk rules or drinking rules at all?
I don't really have those rules fleshed out, although I might.
Oh, I just threw a link in Roll20 there for some.
Go ahead.
I threw a link in Roll20 for some. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
like,
I'll look at
sorry,
that.
just like, for some reason, every game I play, my guy turns it to an alcoholic. I don't know why, he just does.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we could definitely do this. I like this. Okay. Next time, I'll look at this a little bit closer, but first glances are, I'm actually a really fast reader because I'm a recruiter and I read hundreds of resumes a day. I feel like so. Yeah, I'll look at this and I think we can probably work this in next time. Like the details of it, but I do like it. Okay. All right. So, Toren buys himself a bottle of rum, a full bottle of rum. Anybody else have anything else you want to do?
Nope.
Can I also get a steel mirror?
Yes. We'll go ahead and say that a mirror is 1
I think there's an
gold.
extra price for it.
Oh, is there?
It's
Okay.
5 gold for it.
Oh, okay. 5 gold. Okay, cool. Oh, I see it. Okay. Yeah, 5 gold.
Phineas is more rich than I am.
Exactly. Phineas has seen more money in his entire life this past couple months than he could have ever imagined. Okay. All right. Anything else that you guys would like to buy?
Nope, I got my crossbow and my bottle of rum. I'm a discount William Tell.
Right. Exactly.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Irene and Cypress?
Yeah, I'm good. Letters and 10.
Yeah.
Covered.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Oh, I would also like to purchase 10 pieces of chalk. That'd be about 1 silver for 10.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That would definitely be available. All right. Okay. So where would you guys like to go now?
Just the
The
farm, I
farm?
guess.
Everyone go farm? Okay. All right. So the farm is outside of the city a little bit. I mean, it's within like the limits of the city, but it's kind of on the outer edges. And so you guys can head out. This is per Dr. Simic's instructions as to where it is. And you see a large building, and there's like a lot of animals there. So there's cows, horses, sheep, etc. And a bunch of farm hands, a bunch of stable hands, kind of taking care of the animals, and nobody's really paying much attention to you all. There's a large building up right up in front, but they're kind of all doing their job. And you see a sign that says Pelham's Farm, and in large letters, Pelim, Pelham's Farm. And yep, see? What would you like to do?
I guess knock on the door.
Just go up and knock on the door. Oh, okay. All right. So you go up and knock on the door again. Nobody's really paying attention. They all seem pretty busy with their tasks. And the door opens, and you have to look down because the person that opens the door is a gnome. She looks like this. She has pink hair, and she's wearing overalls, and she looks up and says, "Oh, hello. Do you need some eggs or some milk or anything I can get you?"
We're here to help you.
Yeah, it's like I heard you were having some issues with disappearing livestock.
And she looks at me and she says, "Oh, yes, come on in." And she kind of ushers you all in. She closes the door and she says, and she says, "Yes. Reached out to the government about that, or the a few weeks ago." And there's different sizes of chairs. You can definitely tell there's some like small ones that are built for her. But because she has customers in and out of this room, there are some larger chairs, and she kind of directs you over to the larger chairs. And she sits down and she says, "I'm so glad that you've come." And she looks at you and she says, "So, have you been given any background yet?"
Not really. All we heard was a large amount of your herds of sheep and stuff like that have been slaughtered wholesale, and you don't really know what's causing
it. And she says, "Yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. Some of the details, a lot of the details are quite unknown to us. So at night, our sheep seem to be slaughtered, torn apart. But the weird thing is, nobody has ever seen what's doing it. We have shepherds that watch the flock, and none of them have ever noticed a thing. But when they go through the flock in the morning, usually 2-3 sheep have been killed in the middle of the flock. And she takes her hand and points and she says, some have also gone missing entirely. No idea what's doing it. And I don't want to send my staff out in danger like that. So I tell them, even if they do see anything, not to go out and look, just to come back in the house and to be safe. And she shakes her head. And she says, they are more important than my livestock. But I'm starting to lose money. And, well, I don't know what to do about it. I suppose you can help me with this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like we can definitely put a bolt or two in the problem.
And she kind of looks and says, okay. And she says, well, did you have any questions for me, or do you just want me to tell you what everything that I've heard?
Well, what's the pay looking like for this?
And she kind of narrows her eyes just a bit, and she says, well, a little presumptuous, but I think if you can successfully find or figure out what's been happening to our sheep, 30 gold.
What's this place look like? Is it like just a sheep farm?
Yeah, it's a sheep farm, and it has like other animals too, but mostly sheep.
So you're only gonna give us 30 gold for saving your most precious commodity and main product?
Phineas, we've had this talk. Stop
hey, Toren,
doing
why don't you shut the fuck up?
Please do not
And she's
argue.
like, huh.
I'm sorry, but he does this
Stop. I'm sorry,
every
miss.
every.
Please.
Irene, can you take him out, please?
I am making money.
You're extorting people, is what you're doing.
How is doing job for money is
I'm
extorting
going to
people?
rest my hand on Phineas's shoulder and try to guide
Nope,
him out.
you take Toren out of here.
And she's okay. Everybody? Are you sure you were sent here by the government?
Yeah, sorry.
No,
This
we-
dwarf here's a little slow. Oh,
got-
if you get
We
my
got
drift.
told about this by Dr. Simic.
And she says, okay, so you were definitely sent here then, by the government. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but 30 is
And
all I can
30 is
do.
more than fair,
She
thank
said-
you. Please ignore my associate.
Agreed.
If you could direct us to the main location you've been finding the corpses or traces of disappearance, that would be a great help.
Man,
thank
you guys really hate money. What are you guys just like? I could take all the 30 gold if you guys hate money that much.
You already have more money than most of us. Don't be greedy.
It's not being
Although you posted that just as I said it.
greedy is what you need to survive.
And she kind of like takes Irene's advice and is like, just kind of gives this like side eye, like this is like this is a kind of unprofessional type of look, and says, okay, well, shall I show you? And she says, all right, everybody, come on. And she leads you all out to so is everybody gonna go? Sorry, are you all gonna go?
Yeah,
There's a little
I
bit
was.
of a disagreement. Okay. So she leads you out to kind of like a field, and there's the shepherd, and he is kind of, just sitting around, kind of tending the sheep with the rod, and she sits down with him and she says, okay, and she says, so I these are the people that have come to help us. And he just kind of nods with understanding, and she says, please tell them exactly what you've seen and the times you've seen it. And he looks up and he explains to you that what will happen is that he's basically the night watchman, and he will be watching the sheep, and he'll see like maybe a little bit of a disturbance, but he never dares to go out there. And then the next day he'll go out and he'll check, and he'll notice either some missing sheep or some sheep that have been like completely ripped apart. But he repeats that he never sees anything enter the flock. And she looks at him and she says, okay, well, you can, I think that I want you to tend to the horses for a few days. And he starts the process, and he's like, at the same pay, don't worry, this is not your fault. And I think the best thing may be that you all either camp out or watch your sheep at night, and when you see a disturbance, to check it out, and hopefully you'll find out what it is.
Yeah, sound good.
And she kind of gives Phineas a side eye, after the bit of price gouging, but doesn't say anything, and says, okay. And she says, hold on just a second, and she just runs back to her house. Isn't gone for very long, maybe gone for like probably about like maybe 5-10 minutes, and she brings back like a huge like picnic basket type of thing, and it's like she's kind of having trouble like holding it herself, and she looks at you all and she says, here you go, and she says, wait, How presumptuous of me. When do you want to do this? The sooner the better.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to do this now because we're planning on doing another job later in the week, and Toren says this with the look of he is not looking forward to this at all.
And she kind of looks at you and she says, "Oh, thank you so much." And she says, "Here." And she plops down this picnic basket and opens it. And there's all this food in there. She's thrown in like apples and bananas, and it looks like she just threw together like some sandwiches real quick, and basically food to feed you all for the night. And she also like has like a kind of like, there's like a little bit of like a blanket in there. Basically looks like she's packing for a picnic, and she gives it all to you. And she says, "Okay." And she says, "Be careful. That's the most important thing." She does genuinely seem concerned, and she says, "And if you need to come back to the house and run back to the house because it gets too dangerous, that's okay."
That looks
Did you
amazing.
have anything else that you wanted to ask her?
Ramune looks at the food and looks at her.
That food looks amazing. Thank you for your kindness.
And she says, "You're welcome. It's the least I can do. You're helping me so much. I mean, you really are helping me so much." And she kind of seems a little bit, embarrassed, like, "Oh, no thanks necessary, but thank you for quote unquote thanking me, I guess, but you deserve this," kind of thing. Is there anything? Do you all have any questions for her?
No.
Okay, no questions for her.
Ramune
cool.
would ask,
Okay,
how many have
so,
been slaughtered so far?
Say it again.
How many animals have been slaughtered so far?
So she tells you, like I said, this has been going on for, it's always consistent with the event. Every single thing that you guys have been doing is consistent with the event. So this has been happening for like a few weeks. And she says the number, she's not quite sure of the exact number, but it's somewhere between 20 and 30 sheep. Whatever these things are, they only seem to go after sheep. They don't go after horses or pigs or any other animals. Only seem to go after sheep. And they just absolutely slaughter them. And yeah, that's all she has in terms of the number and like kind of the what's been missing.
Okay.
All right. So I'm assuming that there are, okay, so we have about 30 minutes left. So we can actually, if you guys want to, we could do a little bit of the sheep. Actually, we can do this next thing and then we'll stop after this. Okay, because there's a couple of parts to this. So, okay, so this is what we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to move you all to the field. Okay, so I actually moved the group to this field last week.
What?
There are a lot of sheep.
We've never seen this before. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
you crazy. You crazy. They have brown sheep?
There are a lot of sheep, and they are standing around, and brown sheep, black sheep, white sheep, like sheep coming out of your ears, sheep everywhere. And
careful, don't step in the sheep.
Sheep things, huh?
Don't step in the sheep.
Exactly. And they're doing sheep things, they're hanging out. Yeah, she just basically recommended that you guys like camp out and watch. And there are, every once in a while there are disturbances. Now you can do what you want to figure it out, but that's what she recommended. So we can do this as a watch if you guys want. If people want to some people want to rest, some people want to stay up and look. Everybody can stay up. You can go investigate, actually go into the flock and look around. We can do any of those
kind of
things.
look around for other tracks, maybe other signs of animals.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that too.
Okay. What about okay, so you guys can do that. What about Ramune, Cypress, and Irene? What would you guys like to do?
I'll probably just walk the general perimeter, not like too far out, and I'll just mention we could also be dealing with something that burrows or flies if they haven't been able to keep track of it. So let's keep all directions in mind.
Okay. Cypress.
I actually have speak with animals prepped. Could I ask a sheep if it?
Yes,
Stop,
absolutely.
what
We'll do
happened?
that in a second. Okay, and Ramune.
Ramune wants to find a spot where he can just kind of hide and lay in wait.
Okay.
If there is such a place.
You could become a jelly sheep.
Well, I was thinking like either lie down flat on the ground, kind of like a person who's crawling through the weeds and stuff like that. Find a good spot that way. Or if there's any structures I could hide behind, I would do that as well. And pray I don't get trampled by sheep.
Right. So this is a large field. There aren't any structures, but you can definitely like lay down in some of the taller grass.
So
And
I would be.
You can put yourself anywhere on the map to do that.
I would be prone, but I would also.
Right.
I would try to be hidden, and then would I need to make a stealth check?
No, if you're just laying there, not moving. No.
All right.
Okay. So you're hiding. We will go to Phineas and Toren. Both of you, please roll. If you're looking for tracks, roll nature
And
checks.
survival
please.
instead?
Yeah, survival or
Oh,
nature.
I'm
Either.
equally
Whichever's
as
better.
good at both of those, so let's do that.
Okay. All right. So you walk the perimeter, and you kind of walk. You probably want to walk. I would just assume that also within the sheep, kind of throughout, looking for tracks, looking for any signs of animals or anything at all, and you don't find anything. It is baffling. Neither one of you. I mean, Phineas, you're really concentrating. You actually really are tuned in to what you're doing, but you don't see anything. You don't see any tracks. It's very odd. So yeah, nothing at all, unfortunately.
This is Phineas, you didn't find
No,
anything?
and I'm way better than you at this.
Okay, can you
Which is
stop?
strange.
Okay, can you stop this for 5 seconds? Like, okay, we didn't find
No.
any tunnel marks, any kind of
Not
tracks
at
or
all.
anything. So what the f is doing this?
So you were looking for tracks, right?
Yeah, any kinds of like disturbances, signs made by the
Okay,
animal.
so you said tracks. You're also looking for other disturbances. Describe what those could be, because I thought that you only said tracks. So what else?
You know, holes,
Feathers.
fur,
Okay.
stuff like that.
So so then more of a general. Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking for more signs of other
Gotcha.
animals.
Okay. So you continue to look. You don't see any fur, any any feathers, any other signs of animals. However, Phineas, after being a little bit frustrated and annoyed, you move kind of to the middle of the pack, and you do notice some disturbances in the ground. Some slight little dirt kind of patches. But if you look, you don't notice any, you don't see any like fur or anything like that in those. You just notice like inconsistencies in the ground.
Okay, I'm seeing some dirt shit over here. Something up with the dirt.
I will walk over there.
Okay.
Do you guys got a shovel, maybe?
Okay, let's do that one as soon as let's quickly do Irene and Cypress's actions, and then we'll do that one. So the two of you are going to see if you could dig or look closer. Okay, Irene, go ahead and roll perception, please, since you're just kind of looking around the perimeter. Okay. So looking around, you don't really notice anything that you can see at all in terms of, like nothing obvious. Let's put it that way. It seems normal. The sheep. There are a couple of sheep that may seem a little bit skittish, but are sheep normally skittish, or are they skittish because of what's been happening? You're not entirely sure. So not much on that front. Cypress, you wanted to talk to one of the sheep, you said?
Yeah. I'll actually take the time to cast it as a ritual. So I'll go down and sit next to a sheep for a while. And then after 10 minutes, I'll cast speak with animals.
All right. And what would you like to ask it?
So sheep, have you seen anything unusual in the past day?
And the sheep says to you, unusual? What that mean?
Yeah. Stuff that doesn't usually happen to you. Anything that's frightened you or made you scared.
FYI, sheep.
Yeah.
Okay, you got scared. And it kind of seems to be thinking in his little sheep brain, which is exploding, and it's like, monsters.
Monsters, were they big or small?
Small.
Do you remember how many numbers?
No.
That's fair. I mean, we count sheep, not the other way around. Do you know? Can you like face the direction where they came from?
And the sheep seems a little confused. And it says, down.
Down, like from the ground?
Ground.
Okay. I'll thank you for your time. I think that's a lot of useful information.
Sheep
Thank you.
stupid.
And I'll no, that's about what I expected.
Could always try another sheep.
So I'll turn to the group, and Cypress will say, I think there might be some kind of burrowing monster that's attacking them. So we might, Ramune, I think maybe your slime senses might be helpful for that at some point. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, they monsters, and they're not gonna come from a direction we expect, I think.
Hey, me and Phineas found a hole. Do one of you guys
Don't
have
say
a
you and
shovel?
I found the hole.
Well, I think we know what we're gonna find there.
I don't think that does anybody have a shovel in their pack?
I have a
don't
crowbar.
think so. Yeah, like a crowbar.
No,
I mean,
as
we're
you
on a
said
wall.
it, I'm
I'll probably
kicking
borrow a
myself for
shovel.
not buying
You
one.
could.
Because shovels
So-
are so useful.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we could probably just find the shovel.
You could buy the shovel, or you can. I mean, it's nighttime, so I don't know if you want to go knock on the door again, but you can look for probably like a shovel in the barn,
Yeah.
or maybe ask one of the farmhands.
As I do
I'm
have,
gonna run off and go ask a farmhand if you want to finish what everyone else
Okay.
is doing.
What somebody was saying something.
yeah, I was going to ask, as I do have blind sight within 10 feet of me, and I'm laying down on the ground. Do I sense anything within 10 feet below me?
No.
Sounds good.
No. Oh yeah.
Probably gonna get in the lane with the sheep.
So, okay. So Toren's gonna run. I think everybody was pretty much. You had settled on looking into this, whatever's going on the ground. So, Toren's gonna run off, and I'm gonna. It's not even a thing. You can easily find a person. There are people who are, kind of walking around, and you easily find a shovel within about 10 minutes. This is a farm. There's lots of shovels. You bring it back, yeah. So, did you want to just dig? Or...
Yeah, I'm gonna try and dig around and see if we can figure out if there's a tunnel that these things are using.
I'm gonna be just randomly stabbing into the ground too.
Okay. So Phineas is like taking his sword and like just stabbing randomly into the ground. And while Toren digs, I would like everybody who is proficient to please roll perception.
Can I roll with advantage?
Nice, Irene.
I'm kidding. I don't have tremor sense. I only have blind sight.
Okay.
I'm the only one without. I'm only the only one without proficient.
I mean, you're the one who found the hole, so hey.
Right.
I'm expertise in survival.
Right.
And all that really matters is the roll itself. Doesn't matter what your stats are.
Can you put blindsight the ability in the Oh wait, I see it now. Okay, so that.
Yeah, it's. I'm assuming because I'm hitting the ground for it. I know where the ground is, but I can't see below the ground. Otherwise, it makes tremor sense void.
Right. But you can sense tremors.
I could sense things around me. Yeah, I could be able to sense a tremor. I just can't see through the ground or anything like that.
Got it. Okay, got it. Okay. So, Toren, so let's start with Toren's digging. So, and Phineas is stabbing. So, as you dig around Toren, you do notice, as you're kind of digging a little bit deeper, that it does open up to like a little bit of what appears to be some type of burrowing tunnel, but it's collapsed at the other end. So from what you can see, something definitely came up from the ground, but maybe a little while ago because it's collapsed. Phineas, nothing is seeming to happen from what you're doing. So whatever is around, it probably isn't around there at this moment, but it's been there more than likely. Now, Irene, you on the other hand, you are so you're further in front. Okay. So let me go ahead and move you because I'm going to assume so I'm going to assume that you're walking around this whole time, which I think is fair. You're back here because you've been walking around and you've been kind of trying to see what you can sense, and you hear and feel some type of vibration in the ground. Ramune, it's 10. How many feet is your blind sense?
It's only 10 feet.
Okay. Yeah. So
blind sight's like echolocation. Basically,
you don't sense anything, but got it. Okay. So, yeah. So Irene, you feel something, and it's like over here. And before you can react, you hear from a sheep, and you see it like kind of jerk, and it jerks again, and then it stops, and you see the ground kind of like moving, but the sheep seems okay. you see the ground moving away from you, and something at
So
a
down.
higher speed. Moving away.
Oh, okay. Which direction is it heading?
It's heading. Let me give a thing. Da, 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 da. Give me my. Okay. It's headed this way. It is extremely fast.
I'll let out a like a shrill whistle as I start like vaulting towards it and like point the direction I see it going.
Okay. Okay. Does everybody want to follow?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I would like everybody to roll athletics, please. See if you can catch it, or catch up to it at least. Okay. Okay. All right. So everybody, you are all running probably as fast as you can. I mean, it's been kind of a longer day. So Toren, you're a little tired and probably a little bit like still affected by this weird girl that you met earlier. Irene, Irene doing a little bit better. Phineas and Cypress doing okay, but Ramune, you have hit your stride and you are just bolting after this thing.
Like pop up off the ground and just.
Unfortunately, it's a little bit faster. And you don't quite. Go ahead.
I was gonna say just pop off the ground, start chasing after it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and you just immediately spring up and just like sprinting. You pass everyone, and you're chasing it, and you can see the little disturbance as it goes and goes and goes and goes. And then all of a sudden, it disappears. And in front of you, though, you notice there's like, it seems to be some type of opening again. This looks familiar. Right where the thing has entered or has stopped. If you want to go ahead and investigate that area, again, this is not a roll. You can just see it. There is an entrance to another mine. I think this is a good place to stop. So we can stop here. But yeah, you basically see an entrance to another mine. It has like a closed sign on it. Pretty common, mines have been shut down. Like a lot of things have been shut down, at least for the time being. Reminds me of certain quarantine. But yeah, a lot of things have been closed, and so this is another closed mine, and we will pick it up there next week.
Oh.
So.
All right.
So this is interesting. A lot of interesting things happen this session, but so we'll see. Okay. All right. I will see you guys next week. Get to me on your backgrounds if you want to, and we'll talk more about that.
Thank you for the session.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace.
Also, I love the World Anvil summaries. Those are fantastic. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank Jonno. He's the one who really writes most of it. He
Are
helps
you
me with
really?
it, but I'm glad they're helpful.
Damn, Jonno. Thanks, man.
Yeah. He live streams it sometimes after the game. He'll go into his
When I'm
channel
feeling
and he'll live
ambitious.
stream his notes. Yeah.
Yeah, he mostly.
Dude, that is
I just add to it, but
that is so dope. I love that. I every time it comes out, I copy it and I save it into my little journal for my character for it, just because I love being able to actually have that, and it's such a nice in-depth summary, and that takes a lot of work to have to go through and do it all.
And it's
Yeah,
also
and
nice. Like I have it now, looking at it because I forgot what but even now, like I'm forgetting what Esther's last name was. So it's so nice to have this reference created for us.
yeah, that's what I try to do with Esther Francis. It's hard, like it's one of those things that it's really hard to remember stuff in D&D, like ever. So I'm like, okay, in my games I always forget everything, so I'm like, I need to try to minimize this as much as possible. So
Yeah, because like the last 4 sessions have basically been like a day and a half, 2 days for us. So that's like a month of real time brain things. So
yeah, I think we're about so Boundary has a calendar feature that you can add, and so the way that time is kept now, it is called AE, after event. So you guys are approaching about 60 days after the event, and so, but yeah, I'm keeping track of that as we go. But yeah, a lot of time is actually passed. We'll be at level 3 soon as well. It's not gonna be too much longer for level 3. Probably next couple sessions, or maybe next session.
That's gonna be sweet. Be level 3, 'cause that's when a lot of us get our subclass abilities and things like that.
Yeah,
and we get to see our little murder hobo Phineas.
I don't like level 2,
spread his wings.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, but that was, but it was kind of, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't want to say anything, but it's interesting what happened today, though. Hopefully, it was like interesting because we didn't do any fighting. So I'm like, okay, we're not fighting. Is this still interesting? Because I know some people.
Honestly, like until you mentioned that, I didn't even like clock that.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's really, yeah, it's fine every once in a while because there is like just the rest of the world you have to go through. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's realistic to plan a fight at every hour or 2 interval or whatever. You can't. Nobody has that kind of foresight.
Yeah. I mean, I actually do have a mechanic for random encounters, but we've never hit one so far.